Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Arizona is now in fifth. Because they're not right now. They're not better than the Patriots. They're not better than the Patriots. The Patriots are a lot better football team right now. They're more balanced. They don't take penalties. They don't give up big plays. But guess what? After the last few weeks, the Patriots are not better than the Kansas City Chiefs. They're back. They put up 35 points in the opening half against the Vegas Raiders. So Kansas City is back to being a dominant football team. They're scoring points on defense. And they're winning when they should. They had a big spread to cover. I think it was 10. They didn't just cover that. They blew that out of the water. But the Chiefs aren't as good as the Buccaneers right now. Tom Brady coming off a bye. Remember what they did last year? Off the bye. They rolled right through the end of the season, right to the Super Bowl. Tom and Gronk are rolling. Leonard Fournette is dangerous again. I'm worried if you got to play Tampa Bay. But the best team in football is Green Bay right now. Green Bay is hands down the best team in football. Aaron Rodgers is proving it week in and week out, even if he's got a busted toe, which apparently he re-aggravated on the weekend too, and he's contemplating surgery. I don't think he will. Green Bay is the team to beat in the National Football League right now, in my opinion.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Ryan McCarthy, watching in upstate New York, says, why does Saskatchewan have the best town names? Paradise Hill, Moose Jaw. Well, he says Flin Flon, and that's actually Manitoba. And frankly, I'm partial to Medicine Hat.
How about that?
I also learn something every day. We learned today that Flin Flon, Manitoba stands for Flint Tibeti Floniton, a fictional character from a 1905 novel.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to your favorite daytime sports talk show. It's the RP Show. Coming to you on Game Plus Television, live streaming on YouTube as well. Welcome to a rainy day here in South Florida. Gorgeous day up in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. That's where the Moose joins us from, the affable co-host and president of DuPont Media. How you doing, Moose? What do you know today?
It's a bit of a winter wonderland. We got a little snow on the ground today. It's a little crisp, but it's overall it's pretty good.
Awesome, man. You know, I came out here onto the set because I set the gear up like an hour ago, and there was rain like 3 feet in on a little bit of my gear. I'm like, no!
Oh, no.
But hey, we're rolling, and we're ready to have some fun over the next 2 hours. And coming up on the program today, well, what should I call him? One half, formerly, of Tim and Sid. Sid Seixeiro is going to be joining us from Breakfast Television Toronto. A lot of things to get through with our friend Sydney. That's in hour one. And in hour two, Andy McNamara, literally a jack of all trades, Sportsnet fantasy expert, host of the Browns podcast, former voice of the Ticats. A couple of ambidextrous guests coming up on the program today. But more than anything, 2 hours of Moose and I and the viewers. That's what we do here every day. With some photographic evidence, too, by the way, that I'm looking forward to. Are you ready to go with the Quick Six Show topics? Yeah, I'll take that as a yes. Listen, there's breaking news today that I'm not going to get to here. It's like point 4 in the Quick Six, and it has to do with the National Football League and a little to do with the NHL. But we're going to open up with Tuesday night's one-timers from the NHL, okay? And Clark, have those photos ready. It's not for this, but I'm just going to go in order that they had it from the Canadian press. Cam Atkinson had 3 goals and a helper to lead the Philadelphia Flyers to a 6-1 victory over the New Jersey Devils Tuesday night. In Boston, Max Pacioretty scored twice to lead Vegas over COVID-depleted Boston 4-1. Robin Leonard made 23 saves for the Golden Knights, who don't look now, but have won for the 5th time in 6 games. Down here in Sunrise, Florida. Oof. Josh Norris scored 2 goals. Anton Forsberg made 33 saves, and the Ottawa Senators upset the Florida Panthers 8-2. I was there. Nick Brown scored 2 late power play goals. Drake Batherson had a goal and 2 assists. Tim Stützle, Dylan Gambrell, and Austin Watson also scored for Ottawa. And for the Panthers, it was just their 2nd loss at home all year Sam Reinhart, and Hooby-Dooby-Doo, Jonathan Huberdeau scored. But if you want to know why they lost, the proof's in the pudding here. Florida goaltender Spencer Knight gave up a career worst 8 goals on 38 shots. So there you go. But we had some fun before the game. Clark's got some photo evidence, as I said. I'm not sure which order he's going to throw them up here. But this was me. That was between the benches. Moose, you when in Rome, you dress for the occasion, right?
That's right.
So that's me right in front of the Ottawa Senators bench, right between theirs and the Panthers. And there's a funny story about that. I took that shot at Brady Tkachuk. And listen, Ottawa is struggling record-wise, but they're not going to be struggling for long. I could not believe how young the Ottawa team is. And there's the recently named captain. And you just cannot take your eyes off this guy. It's one thing to watch them on television. It's another to watch them live. He is worth every penny of his $8 million annual average value contract. And is that it, or did we have one? Yeah, I stuck around for the opening faceoff to take that shot. Brady was lined up on the left wing. But Moose, should I tell the story about the suicide box? Should I tell that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're getting so many questions about, Rod, what's the deal in Florida and with the Panthers? And I've said it so many times, I'm getting tired of saying it, but the Panthers have just been unbelievable. And in terms of rolling out the red carpet. So that's the second game that I went down there into the suicide box. And I was going to stay for a while. But a guy came down, and he was an older guy. He had the dyed brown hair. He had chains on. And he comes into the suicide box, and he's like, "Are you with the Panthers?" And I said, "No, media. I'm just staying till the first whistle, and then I'll go." "Are you the team doctor or something?" Because he looked like that kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looked like he had some money.
Not really expecting to work tonight, but if he had to get called in, he would.
Bingo. Bingo. And he's like, "Nope, these are just my seats." He might as well have just said, "I'm rich." You know?
Exactly.
But he goes,
How about that?
He goes, I got another guy coming now to join me here right away. And I said, "Hey, listen, man, I'm just getting some photos out. I'm going to take off out of here." But the funny thing is, God loved God's team, the Regina Pats, but they wouldn't even allow you to go into the suicide box at a Pats game. And here's the Florida Panthers saying, "Rod, Bob's your uncle."
You be nice to people,
awesome.
and they'll be nice back to you. You treat people well. You build relationships. But that's funny because the Rush did that, hey? The Saskatchewan Rush. I remember our buddy Phil Gross got to sit for part of a game on the Rush bench. Anything to get the fans involved and upsell. So they're putting these people in Florida, apparently, right between the benches. That's pretty cool.
Well, I didn't even have the gumption to ask him what he paid.
Yeah.
But it's, just you go in there, dress up, treat them with respect, and, like you say, you'll get treated with the same. So it was a lot of fun. But, again, 8-2 Ottawa. We'll come back around on that a little later. Other games, Matthew Joseph scored with 1:35 left in overtime to give Tampa Bay a 3-2 win over Los Angeles. Look out for those Lightning. Evan Rodriguez scored his 9th goal of the season, added 2 helpers, and Pittsburgh beat reeling Montreal 5-2. Alex Nedeljkovic made 33 saves, and the Detroit Red Wings ended a 3-game skid. They beat the Islanders 2-1. Rasmus Dahlin scored twice, and Buffalo snapped a 7-game winless streak with a 4-2 victory in Winnipeg. And I just saw a very cute comment on Twitter from a Jets fan who said, if Winnipeggers weren't so cheap, there'd be more jerseys thrown onto the ice here tonight. So we're going to come back around on that, too. Justin Falk, Ryan O'Reilly, and Vladimir Tarasenko scored in the third period. St. Louis snapped Dallas's 8-game home winning streak, 4-1 in Texas. The game that you watched real closely, Austin Matthews had 2 goals, and Toronto won its second straight, beating struggling Edmonton 5-1. Wayne Simmons, TJ Brody, and Morgan Riley also scored for the Leafs. Jack Campbell made 35 saves. Colton Sevier scored the lone Oiler goal. The losers have 6 straight, including all 5 in their current homestand, and Mikko Koskinen made 20 saves in the loss. I'm getting to the end of it here. Valerie Nichushkin had 2 goals. Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen also scored in Colorado, beat the Rangers 4-2. Ryan Donato broke a scoreless tie early in the third period of his return to San Jose, and Seattle snapped a 3-game slide, beating the Sharks 3-1. And Bo Horvat scored twice, and Vancouver rallied from 3 goals down to beat Columbus 4-3. It's the Canucks' 5th straight win. Come on. Since Bruce Boudreau took over as coach. So we can talk about all those games and bring in the viewer comments if you wish. Obviously, my breakdown of the Panthers-Senators game is on Twitter. The Panthers, they can't fall down by a bunch of goals and just think in the third period we're just going to turn it on and come back. That doesn't happen forever. I don't know if for sure that's what happened last night, but it was their worst game of the season. The Oiler game, I'm interested in your analysis, but I guess an Oiler fan threw a jersey on the ice last night there, which has been happening in Toronto for years. And our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center came from my little cranium here. It is, would you throw your team's jersey onto the ice? I haven't seen, I just put it up just before we went to air, so I have no idea what the results are right now. But I can tell you, for me, it's an emphatic no. And that's why I put 3 exclamation marks behind that option in the tweet, Moose, because, listen, here's a little hashtag dad advice, okay? If we can get the Moose there. Hashtag dad advice from Jim Pedersen, my dad, who said, cheer as loud as you want for your own team. Don't ever boo the other team. Don't ever boo the other team. And to boo your own team? Unthinkable. In the world of James William Pedersen. So, A, I would never do it. B, with the cost of those things? Are you kidding me? An emphatic no for me. But maybe you're different. Maybe the viewers are different. What's your answer to that poll?
Never. I would never do it. Not throw my jersey on the ice. I mean, I would maybe... I wouldn't wear the paper bag on my head either. But at least that's funny. But look, I get it, Oiler fans, especially in that building, because they're so passionate, but so are Leafs fans. And there's so many of them across Western Canada that it's like 50-50 when you have these games. When Toronto or Montreal do their little Western Canadian tour, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. And they're loud. They were loud last night, too. And you hate losing to Toronto. And the Leafs, I think, are now like 9-0-1 at Rogers Center. So it's like they go into the building and win all the time. And so Oiler fans are just like, come on, we hate losing to Toronto, and we're doing it again. And now they've lost a few in a row here, and they've given up. But their team's in a playoff spot. Their team's still in a playoff spot, and they're still very good. I wouldn't be throwing my jersey at all in Edmonton.
I just snuck a quick peek, and on YouTube, the voters, 92% of voters saying no, they wouldn't throw their jersey onto the ice. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes, and he says, I wouldn't throw a jersey on the ice because A, jerseys are expensive, and B, I don't want to get kicked out of the game. Hilarious story. Well, from University of Phoenix Stadium. I was there watching the Cowboys and the Cardinals, 2011, but Derek Duke Myers. And he actually just texted me the other day. There was the game where Jason Garrett, the Cowboys head coach, iced his own kicker.
Yes.
He kicked, you remember that game? He kicked, yes. He made it, but just before he made the field goal, Garrett's like, he calls a timeout on his own kicker. So they line up and do it again, and they miss. He misses, they go to overtime and lose. Derek rips off his Deion Sanders Cowboys shirt and throws it. Of course, we're up on the nosebleeds because we're too cheap to get lower. And the security guard grabbed the jersey and brought it back up to Duke. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
I know. Not only did they not kick him out, they're like, here you go, sir. You seem to have dropped this.
It fell off.
Yeah. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, Rod, your dad is a great man and fan. I've never booed any of my teams. Jennifer from the Four Seasons watching, she says, would never, ever do that. Mike Horrigan watching in Toronto says the Oilers look like the Maple Leafs did a couple years ago. They're still quite a ways off. Oh, my God, I hope not. They were the number 2 team in Canada last year. No, yeah. But I might be wrong. And I guess we got a few more minutes in this segment. I might be wrong in saying, well, I was definitely wrong when I said the Oilers are just in a swoon. That was when they'd lost 3 in a row. Now it's 6.
Yeah.
But as I was coming home from the Panthers game last night, I'm listening on the radio, and they're like, coming up at 9, Oilers and Leafs. I'm like, what? I'm ready for bed. I'm not staying up to watch this. So I didn't see any of it. How bad are the Oilers? Or was it even the real Oilers?
They're not that bad. You know, you got to look at it a couple of ways, too. They're undermanned. I mean, McDavid is playing with Jesse Puljujarvi and Warren Foegele on the top line. I mean, Puljujarvi is a good player. They're both good players, but That's supposed to be your number one unit. I mean, without Nuge, they were without Zach Hyman last night. They're extremely banged up. They didn't have their coach. Dave Tippett was off the bench, precautionary reasons. So Glenn Gulletson and Jim Playfair were the two coaches. Now, they're very capable. They've both been head coaches in the league. I mean, Gulletson's had a couple of tours of duty. And, you know, Edmonton outplayed Toronto for most of that game. They really did. I mean, Draisaitl missed an empty net in the opening period that would have opened the scoring. It was a great chance, and nobody knows how he missed that. He scores from there even when the goalie's in position. I mean, the net was wide open. So he missed that. That was unfortunate. And then right at the end of the period, Matthews gets the goal from Tavares on the power play, and that seemed to just be like, okay, nothing's going to work for Edmonton today, no matter how good they play. And Toronto's just more opportunistic. They finish. They don't miss on their chances. And when they went up 2 and then 3-0 in the second period, it was over. Edmonton's like, look, it's not happening tonight because Jack Campbell's playing at an elite level. He's got a sub-2 goals against average. So it was just a frustrating night for the Oilers, and they continue to not score first. They've never won when they've been trailing after one period all season. They haven't shown an ability to come from behind. And so that's maybe the only concern that comes out of last night is, you know, once you're down, they haven't shown an ability to come back.
Jeff in the zone watching on YouTube says, hey, Rod and Darren, would you throw your hat onto the ice for a hat trick? Nope. Wouldn't do that either. I got $30,000 invested in this hair. I'm not wearing a hat, A. And B, I'm just not doing it. As Patrolman Pete said, you know, I don't want to risk getting thrown out. But everybody loves the dad stories. The one thing about my dad, it's not like he was averse to throwing things on the ice. When I was playing, if we were getting peppered, me, of course, being a goalie, and I was needing a blow, as they say in football, my dad would reach into his pocket and throw some change on the ice, and then bang on the glass and go, hey, there's some change on the ice. Somebody threw some change on the ice. So then they would stop the game, and I would get a breather. My dad would do that.
That's a great coaching trick. You know, pennies. I know coaches that just toss pennies on these. Off to the plays over here, right? Toss some pennies and be like, guys, they're throwing, like, and then you got to get 15, 20 seconds, or they toss a water bottle on the ice or whatever, just to buy your team some time. But the hat thing, no, I wouldn't. I mean, I grew up, I mean, that's 15, 20. Now some of the nicer hats are $40. I mean, doesn't matter if I got money to buy a new one or not. I'm just like, it's money. I mean, I like hat tricks. I like hats going on the ice for hat tricks. I really do. And I want to throw my hat, but I'm just like, I don't want to spend $15 on a new hat. I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, you're too cheap. We've spent the entire segment on point one, which is fine, but just another dad story. Have you ever been knocked unconscious, Moose? Have you?
Yes.
Yeah. Quite a feeling, right? I had a guy came through the crease and butt-ended me right here. The last thing I remember is these green and yellow gloves and boom, done. And when I came to, my dad was standing over me in the crease. He'd scaled the glass. I don't know what happened in between, but Dad was like, weird feeling getting knocked out. Anyways, we're going to take a timeout and come back with points 5 through 6. We do have some CFL stuff. Bombers, got my Bomber Blue on today. The breaking news that has to do with COVID. That's why I'm kind of delaying it, but we'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head. That could cause a traumatic brain injury that, depending on how severe it is, could take months to heal or leave you with long-term effects. Effects like getting debilitating headaches for the rest of your life. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
I started the Shatler Lacrosse Academy 3 years ago, and my main goal for the province of Saskatchewan was to spread the game and the awareness of lacrosse. Jeff Shatler here, number 77 with the Saskatchewan Rush. I currently play forward, 16 years pro. I live, work, and play in the province of Saskatchewan. Direct West's mission is to grow Saskatchewan economy by helping small local businesses win with digital advertising services, but they are also a major supporter of local sport, art, and charitable organizations. Year after year, Direct West continues to put their money where their mouth is, and ensuring the minor sports and art and music festivals can continue to thrive in our province. They continue to do all they can to promote our communities and assist nonprofit charitable organizations in the effort to improve the quality of life in the province of Saskatchewan. I am proud to work with Direct West and call the province of Saskatchewan my home.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
In the heat of the summer, familiar sounds, feel in the air, it's the best thing anywhere. Just give me back my game. 'Cause I live for the drama, I live for the emotion. No one can take me down, bring me back my football.
BetRegal.net, exclusive sports gaming partner of the CFL.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It's the RP Show. It's a Wednesday, and this show is unfolding, quite frankly, exactly the way that I hoped it would. And that is with a lot of viewer comments. And I knew that our poll question today would get people going. And it is, would you throw your team's jersey onto the ice? It's somewhat morphed to, would you throw a hat onto the ice too? Trent's watching in Norway. And he says, Norway here, I've never thrown anything on the playing surface anywhere. I've never booed my teams either. As for the Oilers, the only thing to do is play their way out of their slump. Stay well. That's from Trent. Brian Dodge is watching, the mayor of Dodge City. And I got to tell you this, Moose, I was driving around in the Jeep. His boys are all hockey-playing boys here in South Florida. They were asking me about this far-off land. Thanks for waving that. This far-off land where we have outdoor hockey rinks. They're like, ooh. And they're like, you were a goalie? And I'm like, I wasn't a goalie. I am a goalie. And they said,
yes.
maybe you can come down and we can take shots on you. I'm like, anytime you want. I just got to get my gear. I bought it last year for a reason. But they just, outdoor ice? What?
Well, they only know this on the Disney movie, right? Remember that movie, Mystery Alaska? So, they don't think that exists. They think that's just a mystery, like a movie, a Disney movie. But we grew up in it.
Yeah. Love those boys. Habs for Life's watching in Vancouver, and he says, do the Florida Panthers need to hire a coach? Tortorella. Hold that thought. I want to come back on it. Because I've been thinking about that very thing. But I want to get into point two, and that is our NHL top 5, bottom 5. I had a little help with this one, but here we go. You're going to love this one, Moose. We've got the graphic here from Nelson. Our number one team in my top 5 is the Toronto Maple Leafs, man. 42 points are 42 points. Sorry to say. I caution you that it is the second week of December, but the Toronto Maple Leafs are the number one team in the NHL right now. Number 2, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They came out of nowhere. 40 points, a 7-14 winning percentage. Tampa Bay has quietly got their game going. The Carolina Hurricanes, I can't ignore them with their 39 points, and I believe it's the highest winning percentage in the NHL at 722. Number 4, the Florida Panthers, in a space of a week, have dropped from first to fourth in my rankings, and losing last night 8-2 to Ottawa at home in their worst game of the year reflects that. At number 5, well, we can't have 5 Eastern teams. I had to go with somebody, so I went with the Minnesota Wild, who have got 39 points. They're number 1 in the West. Granted, they've lost 2 in a row. Their game was COVID postponed last night, but their winning percentage of .696 is among the top in the West. As far as the bottom 5 go, this took a little thinking too, but the Buffalo Sabres are 28th, the 5th worst team in the NHL. They are 2-8 in their last 10, so I think the Sabres are who we thought they were. Number 29, the Ottawa Senators. Yeah, they're making up for lost games and so forth, but by what I saw last night, they'll get the edge ahead of the New York Islanders, just a little bit better. The Islanders, 30th. Their .396 winning percentage or losing percentage is the worst in the Metropolitan Division. And then there's really no doubt who the worst 2 teams in the NHL are. Montreal, the worst in the East, and the Arizona Coyotes are worst in the West. 12 points only, if you can believe, into December. .222 winning percentage, and their goal differential is an NHL worst, -53. There you go, our NHL top 5, bottom 5. We do it every Wednesday, and it was nice to be in an NHL building last night to watch 2 of the teams in each, although their roles were flipped last night. So just with Andrew Burnett, he is the interim coach of the Florida Panthers, and the Panthers are very careful in every news release. The roster says interim head coach Andrew Burnett. And until they lost in Colorado to end the road trip. They lost last night to Ottawa. Nobody was saying anything about Joel Quenneville or do they need to hire a coach. This is what I think the Florida Panthers will do. I think they'll get through the year with Andrew Brunette. Are you in a rush, if you're the owner, Vinny Viola, the Florida Panthers, to bring in John Tortorella or anybody else? You've got a great team. The culture is set. I just think you let Brunette go to the end of the year. That's what I would do. But what would you do?
I wouldn't. I'd be really evaluating this.
No?
I'd let it go for a time. There's 2 kind of spots. Now, not that they have a big Christmas break in the schedule or anything, but I'd kind of go to Christmas into the new year. I'd probably I think Burnett's going to be coaching into January. So I think that's fine. You don't want to do this right before the, Christmas. So that's your one window is, Jan 1. And your second window is the Olympic break, when you have an actual break in your schedule and you can bring a coach in and pick up on that culture, and away you go. And I think you do it because you have a good team in Florida. And the windows in sports are so small now. It's rare. Tampa winning 2 in a row is rare. So if you've got the pieces, you need to make sure you go all in here, which means, okay, when you get up to the deadline, you might have to make a move or 2. The Panthers need to be all in. And that means you got to make sure that your coaching staff is ready. And, they've dealt with some adversity. And how has Andrew Burnett been behind the bench in terms of getting them out of a rut? Games like last night, how they've played on the road a little bit to start. I think a coach would help, and you got to make sure that you're all in this year.
Well, when you're going to make a coaching change, you got to make sure that you have a better one available. And who is it? Is it John Tortorella? Is it Mike Babcock? Who is it? And like I say, up until last week, we weren't having this conversation.
That's right.
And they did have these comeback victories over the Blues. I was there. And over the Capitals. I was there. So we don't know from watching from the outside. We don't know what's going on in the dressing room. Do you call in your leaders? Maybe you do. But that's why I said when you, I think, forced Joel Quenneville to resign, did you really think it out? He's the second winningest coach in NHL history for a reason. He didn't just have good teams, okay? Or anybody could coach then. So that's my thought on that. I didn't expect to go down the Panthers road, but I'm cool with the fact that we did. Earl James, watching in Manitoba, says, after watching the Sens so much last year, I thought they were a good team, young, fast, and big, just not much of a goalie. Well, that's still kind of the case. They just released Matt Murray. Forsberg was really good last night. Anyways, moving on. A lot of hockey today, making the hockey fans happy. I told you that I'm wearing Bomber Blue. This is my third point, following their 33-25 win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Sunday's 108th Grey Cup. The back-to-back Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers will host a celebration at IG Field tonight, beginning at 6 p.m. Central. Gates will open to fans at 5, with entry limited to gates 1, 2, and 3. The event is free to attend, but fans will need to provide proof of immunization to enter the stadium. Limited concessions will be open and serving food and beverages. The Grey Cup Championship celebration presented by Bell MTS, who proudly carries the Game Plus on their cable network, will be hosted by Bob Irving and feature speeches from players and dignitaries. So, because the Bombers are good friends of ours and they deserve it, I thought I would pass that along. Moving on to point 4, the breaking news today, and good timing that we would have Andy McNamara on, the host of the Browns podcast, coming up in hour 2. The Cleveland Browns COVID-19 outbreak has widened and worsened. Quarterback Baker Mayfield and coach Kevin Stefanski tested positive for COVID-19 this morning. Will likely miss this weekend's game against the Vegas Raiders as Cleveland deals with a widespread outbreak during its playoff pursuit. Stefanski's positive test was first announced by the team, which then put Mayfield, starting safety John Johnson III, nickelback Troy Hill, defensive tackle Malik McDowell, and defensive end Ifeadi Odenigbo on the reserve COVID list. And this comes one day after the team put 8 players, including Jarvis Landry, on the COVID-19 list. That's all I'm going to say there. Well, my phone's going off with notifications like crazy here. Flames outbreak worsens. This came 15 minutes ago from the Score. 7 players, 10 staff going to from the Athletic. Daryl Sutter has entered COVID-19 protocol. I don't have anything to say. I haven't figured anything out in the last 24 hours, but it sounds like you have. You at least have a... How did this all hit? The NBA, NFL, NHL all at once. Do they have a big party somewhere?
Possibly. You know, it starts by taking your foot off the gas a little bit in terms of, you know, your measure, your safety measures and your personal habits. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I've taken my foot off the gas when it comes to COVID. Now, granted, I'm not being reckless. We have a small staff. We're all separated. Look, I'm in a huge room here. I'm the only one in here. You know, when I come and I leave, I do most of my work from home in the afternoons. I'm not in the office. There's things like that. But I mean, at the beginning, I was washing my groceries and I, was super diligent, making sure I washed my hands every time I got home and changing my clothes. And so I've taken my foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe it's the variant. But look, for Stefanski, this is the second time he's got COVID, and he's reported to be double vaxxed and boosted, right? He's got the booster too. And he's got COVID for a second time, or at least he's in the protocol. But what we're not hearing, and not saying that it's just like you and I walking around, nobody's getting sick, okay? Just because they're so the vaccines are working. Even if people are catching COVID, the vaccines are working because nobody's getting sick, deathly ill. They're all coming back. So we are trending to a spot where this is going to become the flu because we're all vaccinated and we're doing all those things. But right now, you're just trying to make sure it doesn't get spread to the unvaccinated and the vulnerable. And the leagues don't want to be, super spreaders. But for whatever reason, this is cold and flu season. This is when these things get transferred more frequently anyways. But it is something to watch because leagues are going to start looking at what we've seen, postponing games. And what's the NFL going to do? They're going to be next, right? Are they going to have to move games around?
Sure. And I was racing down I-95 last night, coming home from the Panthers game, listening to Kevin Brooks on the Panthers radio. And their panel was same thing. They're like, well, the weather's turning and maybe that has something to do with it. And I'm like, good. I don't feel so stupid then. Nobody has any idea what's going on and why this would already hit this week. I mean, I get the thing of taking your foot off the gas with COVID, but every league all at once still doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Jennifer from the Four Seasons is watching and she says, if the games can't be made up, what happens then? I will virtually guarantee they don't know. You just mentioned it, canceling All-Star games, cramming the NHL games into the Olympic break. That 2-week window is probably what they're looking at. But I fully believe, after everything that I heard last year with the Stanley Cup playoffs, that they didn't know where round 3 was going to be played when the Canadian team advanced. Yeah. They didn't know till like a week before. So I think right now they're dealing with the outbreaks, trying to get a lid on it, keep everybody safe, as they say, under an abundance of caution. But it's just wild to me Nelson Vo, our content man, says the NFL had 110 cases from September to the end of November and had 78 in the last 2 days. Jaden watching on YouTube. Jaden watching on YouTube says, I feel like the NHL at the Olympics is a stretch at this point. That's one thing that we'll talk to our next guest about, Sid Seixeiro, who I understand is logged in. Good to see you, Sydney. And we'll have him with us in just a couple moments' time. Point 5 of the Quick Six Show topics is simply the CFL coaching carousel. And like I said, I'm okay with talking about that because it's something. The CFL, XFL talks is nothing, and it's a waste of our time, and the 4 downs too. But Chris Jones, I guess, already interviewed with the Edmonton Elks. That happened. Must have been Monday, I guess, because we're sitting here Wednesday. I was told the Ottawa Red Blacks have 8 candidates for their co-GM role. Danny McManus is interviewing, Ted Govea, Ryan Rigg made in. So these are all names that the football people know. I'm not sure the fans really know. But this would be better served for a Saskatchewan show. I saw somebody ripping Chris Jones apart again, saying he ruined Rider pride. I'm like, dude, you got to get over it. It's been 3 years since he's been gone. Like, get over it, man. You think Chris Jones is the reason that they only had less than 20,000 for the playoff game? Come on. But people just can't get over things. So we'll talk about all that stuff later, maybe into hour 2. I did have a coach write me today. He's like, you're going to be listening today from the States. And I'm like, not a lot of CFL today. Sorry, bro. Toronto Raptors have a few days off after their game tomorrow night against Chicago was postponed due to numerous Bulls players being in COVID-19 health and safety protocol. Raps dropped a 131-129 decision at Brooklyn last night. They beat the spread, Moose. I feel like it was 5.5.
They weren't celebrating.
Well, I wasn't. As we say, when people write in here with betting advice, from me anyways, I don't know about you, do the opposite, you'll be fine. So anyways, it's taken us 40 minutes to get through the Quick Six Show topics. Good seeing you, Moose. We'll see you back here for hour 2.
See you then. You bet.
We'll run the gamut when we come back with Sid Seixeiro from Breakfast Television in Toronto. Right after this, you're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube live streaming, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
In the heat of the summer, familiar sounds, feeling the air, it's the best thing anywhere. Just give me back my game. 'Cause I live for the drama, I live for the emotion. No one can take me down, bring me back my football.
BetRegal.net, exclusive sports gaming partner of the CFL.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit aurorarecoverycenter.com for more information today.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Daytime sports talk, and we are into the viewer takeover early. I want your opinion on all our topics today. NHL to the Olympics, the COVID outbreaks in all leagues. Taco Time brings you viewer takeover. Canadians love local. Go loco. Eat local. Taco Time uses fresh ingredients sourced in Canada. Our beef, chicken, cheddar cheese, sour cream, and Mexi fries all come from the Great White North. Sid Seixeiro's Twitter bio proudly proclaims breakfast television. That's all. Beside that blue check mark, and he joins us today again. Good to see you, Sid, as always. And if you don't mind, can we start with your take on the NHL to the Olympics with the current COVID environment? Do you see them going?
No. Good to see you, brother. No.
Yes.
I think Connor McDavid's quote yesterday will be if you're going to write a book on NHLers' quests to go to Beijing, unsettling will be the title. Because if Connor McDavid is the guy who's putting out the strongest language, aside from like the Robin Leonards of the world, I think it's a window into the soul of what the other guys are thinking. And whether you hear Friedman, Merrick, any of the insiders from TS, anybody, they're kind of giving you the same feel. The Olympics are nice, but at what cost? Like for any NHLer that goes to the Olympics right now, you're basically doing it for the gram. Because you're not going to get an Olympic experience at all. Like you're doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're literally going to show up so you can say gold or silver or bronze medal in your hockey DB page. That's it. You're not, and in a way I respect that more because that's the level of dedication we're talking about. But at some point, do you not want some level of real Olympic experience? And do you not want this threat of 5 weeks quarantine before you leave China hanging out there? Like I know not everyone's up on the news all the time, but any Canadian traveling to China, considering what the last 3 years have been like, you got to think about that. I don't care who you are. And I'm sure that's part of the equation. I think the quarantine is the big deal breaker. And also not getting paid if you miss games because of quarantine is probably a deal breaker for some of the guys. But Rod, I don't see it. Do you see it?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
No. Well, just if you're drawing up a list of pros and cons, the cons far, far, far outweigh the pros. But the funny thing is, speaking of pros, it's like, well, the NHLers aren't going, so let's send the minor leaguers. Screw those guys. They'll go. I mean, somebody's going to have to put up with this. It just won't be Connor and the big
At some point, you have to organize that, right, Rod? Like at some point,
yeah,
you can't just ask a guy in a week to go to our guys you and I, if they asked them in a week, would you go to the Olympics? Yeah, no problem. I'll play for Team Canada. I'll play for Team USA. You still have to give them some level of respect in terms of scheduling. You can't just go to every pro league in Europe and say, all right, let's go. We're having a high-level Spangler Cup. Who's in? Like, you just can't do that. So there's so many questions here. It's fascinating, but I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going.
It is fascinating, and I don't want to spend the whole time on this, but I will just ask you this. When it came out last week from the meetings here in South Florida, Gary Bettman saying, we're going to leave it up to the players. Sid, I like to take things at face value. I'd like to believe it was just that simple. Not that they're really passing the buck, but let's leave it to the players. Do you think it was that simple? I mean, they had to have been talking about it for months. And that's what they ended up with, saying, let's let the players decide. Is it that simple?
I think it is. I haven't agreed with a lot of what Gary Bettman has done in the last 6 months. This is the one where he's right. The players want this. They fought for this. You know, Donald Fear went to the wall to get this opportunity. Okay. You guys figure it out. Like, how is this one on Gary? Gary and the owners from Jump Street hated this. They fought against this. And if Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews or whoever want to back out, if I'm the league, I don't do them the service of putting my foot down and making sure they save face. No. Hockey players who never give a good quote on anything are going to have to speak to this publicly about their country because they fought for this. So now it's on their plate. I think Bettman's well within his right. The owners, I didn't have this. Players now have to speak on it. Let them speak on it.
I think it's great, but I just thought, wow, first time in history that the employers are saying, let's let the employees decide. That never happens. But you're right. They did fight it tooth and nail because of the insurance thing and the injury thing and all the rest. So maybe it is as simple as that. What is your thought? Do you have, and I don't know how much time you spent on this on breakfast television, with these COVID outbreaks in all the major leagues and all the stars, the Greek Freak in the NBA, Darryl Sutter going in with the Flames, Baker Mayfield today with the Browns. Why this week? Why? What happened?
Omicron's here, and it is a nasty little bugger. It is determined. Every epidemiologist who's looking at this has looked at it the same way. This is Delta on steroids. The only good thing, actually, it's a really good thing, is that if you've been vaxxed up, as you guys were kind of talking about earlier, it's the cold and sometimes less. So that is a modern miracle of science. And if there is a silver lining here, it's this. The issue is this thing. I mean, this thing moves around. Like, who was the most traded guy in NHL trade deadline history? Give me a name. Who's the one guy who would always get dealt?
Mike Sillinger. This is the Mike Sillinger of viruses.
This is Mike Sillinger of viruses. 100%. You set your clock to it. It will move. And it's moving. And the only issue is, like, you just, at some point, what do you do with the games? To echo what you said earlier, the league they have no idea what to do here. The NHL clearly are first in the firing line here of leagues that might have to shut down a little bit. What interests me, and forgive me if I've missed it, is the Prime Minister and the Feds were set to reportedly make an announcement today on the border. I haven't seen anything. But what I find interesting is how Carolina went through a bunch of Canadian cities, and now you see issues. And if I'm a politician talking about the border, that is a significant thing for me. So I'm just wondering whether the exemptions that were given out to NHL teams, towards the back end of that last season, I don't know where they stand here with something that moves this quickly. We're going to find out. I can tell you this. If you were at Rogers Arena last night, or Rogers Place, or if you were that idiot that threw a jersey in Edmonton, or like wherever you were last night, hope you enjoyed it. Because the one thing I could tell you is fans aren't going to be in the stands for a while. And again, it goes from province to province. It's not a wide making rule by the federal government. I understand that, but get ready. Get ready, because I can tell you right now in Ontario, it's not going to fly. The Sens, Raptors, and Leafs are going to play games, I think, but they're not going to have fans there much longer. It's not a good look, especially if the rest of the province are going to be asked to go into some form of restriction this close to the holiday season. That I can tell you for sure.
Well, Sid, we've reached the end of our time. I wish we had more positive things to talk about, because you're a positive guy. Things good with you, by the way, as we enter the holidays? Things good?
Things are good, actually. I think weather up here in Toronto is going to be the same as what you're getting. We're at 15 degrees tomorrow. What's your forecast?
How about that?
28 degrees here. And oddly enough, COVID doesn't seem to be a thing. Sorry. Sid, Merry Christmas, my friend. I appreciate the time. Thanks for the insights.
Merry Christmas, brother. And to your audience, take care. Everyone stay safe.
There you go. Sid Seixeiro from Breakfast Television. When we come back, a sports update with all hang breaking loose in the world today and Taco Time viewer takeover. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network across all 10 provinces and 31 states, including the beautiful state of Florida. Live streaming on YouTube and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might sprain your wrist, or even fracture it. A severe wrist fracture can take at least 2 months to heal properly. And it can cause you to develop arthritis that keeps you from doing something as simple as picking up your child without pain. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? We have something really special.
Holy, it's pretty impressive.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Rain in South Florida today, but still a beautiful day. And as we are about to climb into Taco Time viewer takeover, I do want to read you a sports update. Coming out of Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Ice cannot be dethroned, leading the Kia CHL top 10 rankings for the 7th time this morning. Just announced this morning the Canadian Hockey League top 10. Are you ready? Here they go. Number 1, Winnipeg Ice. Number 2, Edmonton Oil Kings. Number 3, Kingston Frontenac. Number 4, Charlottetown Islanders. Number 5, the Kamloops Blazers. Number 6, the Everett Silvertips. Number 7, Sherbrooke Phoenix. Number 8, North Bay Battalion. Number 9, the Quebec Rempart. Number 10, the London Knights. And honorable mentions go to the Seattle Thunderbirds, Gatineau Olympic, and Mississauga Steelheads. I got to think God's team, the Regina Pats, are just on the lip of this, just on the cusp of an honorable mention or a top 10, the Regina Pats. Speaking of the dub, Tristan Robbins scored 35 seconds into overtime as the Saskatoon Blades edged the Moose Jaw Warriors 5-4 in the dub Tuesday night. Elsewhere, Kelowna eked out a 5-4 OT win against Victoria. Portland slipped past Everett 4-3 in extra time. Prince George topped Vancouver 5-3. Seattle bested Tri-City 7-1. And PA defeated the number 1 team. Figure that one out. Winnipeg 4-1. Austin Matthews is closing in on most goals in the NHL. His 2 last night, and Toronto's 5-1 win in Edmonton gives him 20 on the season, 3 back of Neon Leon. COVID-19 continues to dominate NHL headlines. Another 17 players went on the league's COVID protocols yesterday. Oilers head coach Dave Tippett was not behind Edmonton's bench last night as he was moved into the protocol, and Vancouver defenseman Tucker Poolman was pulled from last night's game due to COVID protocols. Today, is it 10 more Flames, including head coach Daryl Sutter going into COVID protocol? The NBA's growing list of players in health and safety protocol now includes the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. The league's injury report last night listed the 2-time MVP as out for the Bucks game against the Indiana Pacers tonight because he's in the health and safety protocol. The sports update for Ballers Rec Room. Check out our brand new line of games. Book your group or business Christmas party now for the Tap Brew House and drive-through liquor store where you'll never need to ask to have the CFL game put on. And for Red Bull Canada, Red Bull gives you wings. From the NFL, Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback, and their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, going into COVID protocol. This is one day after 8 Browns players went in, including star wide receiver Jarvis Landry. I'm just talking while I bring up the text line here. Hey, Mike Lee's watching. The birthday boy in Maui, Hawaii. Writes in on the 902 text line and says several years ago, regarding our poll question today, by the way, which is, would you ever throw a jersey onto the ice, your team's jersey, and it's morphed into, would you throw your hat on the ice? Over 90% saying no. Are you stupid? But My Dale Mike watching, he says, several years ago, I threw a hat in Estevan. When I left the game, I found it on a table near the exit, signed by the guy who scored the hat trick, and I got it back. Pretty cool. How about that? Last minute of play in hour 1. Oh, Clark, I don't know if you saw the text line. We got to get this photo up maybe next hour. It's from Adam Ridioff watching on Game Plus in Hamilton, Ontario. It's a photo. He says, here I am in full playoff beard at the Grey Cup with Harold, who's a resident at the support home where I work. We got to get that photo on the air. Mark Knight watching in Burlington, Ontario, and he says, Rod, you have not been on Game Plus the last 2 days. How come? Talk to Game Plus. Clark did tell me that, and I continue to throw in that we're on Game Plus. I clearly don't make those decisions. It's a programming thing. We were bummed for gaming. I can give you the email if you want to complain. I would strongly suggest that. Andy McNamara next hour in the Moose as well. Stick around.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Does this look familiar?
Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
A Landmark Cinemas $30 gift card with $40 in great movie savings is the perfect gift to give, or give to yourself. Get yours today in theater or online at landmarkcinemas.com and make it a merry movie season. Landmark Cinemas, for movie lovers.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Ryan McCarthy, watching in upstate New York, says, why does Saskatchewan have the best town names? Paradise Hill, Moose Jaw. Well, he says Flin Flon, and that's actually Manitoba. And frankly, I'm partial to Medicine Hat.
How about that?
I also learn something every day. We learned today that Flin Flon, Manitoba stands for Flintibeti Floniton, a fictional character from a 1905 novel.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It sure is. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new hour of the RP Show. Daytime sports talk on a very interesting Wednesday as we're getting to the bottom of some things, and 2 hours in your schedule spent with us. Thank you so much as we go back to the bunker in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, where it's like all heck is broken loose. I don't totally understand what's going on. I do thank Sid Seixeiro from Breakfast Television, formerly half of Tim and Sid was with us, Moose. He was good. He has predicted that the NHL will not send players to the Olympics. He has predicted that all Ontario pro sports teams will not be playing before crowds before very long because of what's going on with the Omicron variant. And that all sucks. I see that the viewers are going nuts on the comment section here from YouTube. On the third shot, the fourth shot, this is bogus, this and that. I get all of that. I see Randy Ambrosi, by the way, for the CFL fans that have tuned in, has tweeted, and we can bring this up, 1 hour ago, a photo of himself on the set at Grey Cup with James Duthie. He says, our thanks as always to our amazing broadcast partners, TSN and RDS, and all of our friends in the media who does such a wonderful job of sharing the inspiring stories of our players, the Grey Cup, and our great game. So Randy, just out of the blue, sending kudos to the media. Isn't that something? You don't see that very often.
All right.
And tonight, by the way, right, there's There's a Grey Cup celly at IG Field in Winnipeg for the Bombers, 6 p.m. Got to provide proof of vaccination there, and then you're in, and Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
Before we go any further, Clark tells me, don't let me forget to tell you what I think is a funny story about us not being on Game Plus television today. It's the only funny thing about it, and it's a story from my past that I'm going to relate.
Okay.
But because we've built up the jingle so much for the text line, 902-518-3033, Clark says they got it ready to go. I have not heard this. So what do you want to tell the folks about the jingle for the 902 text line, Moose?
Nothing to say. Just, something fun we put together, and this is what they came back with. So you let me know when you're ready to roll it, and we'll roll it. And you'll hear it a few times throughout the show, I'm sure.
Hit it.
All right.
Hit it.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
How
about that? Awesome.
So there's that.
I like it.
The things that we do
What's the story?
and come up with, right? Like,
where's she from?
I know. Overseas, obviously. It was literally Rod Pedersen. You are very cultured. I love it.
Well, listen, you know what that reminds me of? Hey, great work, by the way. Everybody's right. Yeah, John in Edmonton says, why do a British accent? Don't ask me. Sam's Scarf Closet, watching on YouTube, writes in and says, that's why Darren gets the big bucks. Nothing to say, Rod. That's what they said in the yearbook, Jim.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my God. Here it comes, the jingle, says Darren in Salt Lake City. That reminds me of Charlie Pride, back when I was a country music DJ. You remember Charlie Pride, whose nickname was the Chocolate Cowboy? They say these days that would be deemed inappropriate, and maybe it would. But I met him at Craven Country Jamboree, the big country music fest out there, and I got him to read a liner into a tape recorder to play. You know how the DJs do?
Yeah.
Right? Hey, folks, this is Charlie Pride, and you're listening to Rod Pedersen on Country Favorites 1190 CFSL. And I'm like, Rod Pedersen, did you do it once more with feeling? Nah, I just let it go. So every time I played, oh, the crystal chandeliers on CFSL radio in Weyburn, it was always introed by Charlie Pride saying, here's Rod Pedersen.
Rod Pedersen.
Can we cut that out of the jingle?
Sure.
Shouldn't be hard. Stacy, yeah. Ryan H. I agree with Ryan H. on YouTube. He says, we need to hear it again. It's got to grow on us. Can we play it again? Play it again, Clark.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
It's good. It's good.
Kiss an angel, good morning, says Darren in Salt Lake City, and most of you don't even know what that means.
Oh, my gosh. This show, I tell you.
It's been a couple months since you've been working on this. So, yes, it's fantastic. And before we get it, nice work.
Thank you.
Did you even get her name?
Yeah, I could look it up here. Give
What's
me a
her
second.
name?
I'll tell you. Continue.
By the way, John in Edmonton says, now we're a British sports talk show. Well, you'd be okay with that, Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You'd be okay. Rod Pedersen. What do you... Did she email you directly? You have her name?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Let's send her a personal thank you. Let's get her on the air.
We should get her on the show.
My story here is Mark Knight, watching in Burlington, Ontario, wrote in last hour, and I don't think you... are you listening? Are you finding it?
I'm listening.
Mark says, Rod, you have not been on Game Plus the last 2 days. How come? So I wrote him back on the 902 line. I said, not sure. Do you want the email address to complain to Game Plus? And he said, no, I'll just watch on YouTube. But I want to tell, because today's show has a little bit of the old school feel to it,
Yes.
you know, in that just telling stories. And to go back to my past life, past career, I did so many things. I broadcast the Rough Rider games on radio. I did the talk show on radio. I did the regional television broadcast, play-by-play of junior hockey, Rough Rider magazine show there. And Darren, you know the people involved. They're gonna remain anonymous to protect the nameless, if that's how they say it.
Okay.
So I would habitually walk into the stadium, arena, studio, you name it, and say, where are we airing tonight, boys? Girls, don't know. I'd kind of like to know where we're airing, you know? Don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Just shut up and call the game was generally the way what it is. Shut up and dribble. Yeah. And there were times, you know, where we would go be calling some pretty big time games. And all of a sudden my phone would light up. My cousin Danielle in Kelowna, hey, caught you on television tonight. Great job. Or Al in Toronto, hey, caught you on da-da-da-da. I'm like, well, I didn't even know that we were airing there. So by the time I showed up on Darren DuPont's doorstep, I was a whipped, downtrodden lad. Still am in a lot of ways. You know what I just say to you on the phone the other day? I've had it beaten into me so much. Stay in your lane, Pedersen. So when we were trying to figure out where we were going with this show and everything, I said, Darren, I just want to sit in front of the mic and talk. End of story. I don't want to worry about what network we're on, where we're airing. None of it. And that's kind of what we have, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we got.
That's right. I can't. So it's awesome.
It's fantastic. But whether we're on Game Plus on a daily basis or not, because we're preempted because of gaming, I literally don't know. I just show up and talk. But in the past lives, I had to do all the social media, I had to do all that, and it fried me. It fried me. So I said to Darren, I don't want to do all that. I just want to show up and talk. And you're like, well, handle it all. And you do.
Yeah, we got
Anyways, back on point, if we were on point at all, Rick Boccaccio is watching in Hamilton. And he says, I love how these non-drafted college players come up to the CFL and make a name for themselves up here. So happy to see them continue their dream. And it's interesting that Rick would say that just randomly out of the blue. I don't think he's referring to anybody in particular, but that's always been what the CFL, that's the charm of the CFL. Right? And that's not changing, although I'm just to go a little further. Jim Wagner, watching from Balgoni, he says, jingle, approved. They like it, Moose. Nice job.
I'm reading all the comments that are coming through.
Sean, you're not seeing the ones on the 902 text line. I am. Sean in Vancouver. Chip, cheerio, gents. It wasn't enough to go to South Florida. Hey, Moose, you had to go across the pond.
Yes, the United Kingdom is where that came from.
Everybody, they want to hear it again. Can we hear it again?
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
They like they like the head that pops up, Rod. They like when your head pops up out of the bottom.
Yeah. Whack-a-mole. By the way, it's 1:11 Eastern. The opportunity portal is wide open. Wide open. Are you going to walk through it? I feel like today's a day where people are just tired. I think the world's gotten them down a little bit. And they're ready to just have some fun. Bust loose. Feel like busting loose. While we're at it, Tough Tribe for Men is one of our newest partners on the RP show. It was designed to meet the unique demands of clean, professional grooming. The warm scent of a gentleman's shampoo. teams up with an invigorating, cool peppermint conditioner. Top that off with a little beard and hair pomade to start your day feeling fresh and confident. It's available now at toughtribeformen.com. That's the number 4, toughtribeformen.com. And you can also order from Amazon Canada. And I'm not going to lie, I've had a lot of comments on my flow down here in South Florida, and there's only one thing that's changed. Tough Tribe. If you want to know why, that's what it is. But what's your secret, Moose? You've always been coiffed. What's your secret?
Well, the actual secret is I rarely wash my hair. Can you believe that?
Come on.
How about that?
Rarely wash it. And actually try not to put much product in it.
You heathen.
I know, right? But I shower every morning, keep it clean of all the product and stuff like that. So I do that. That's kind of the secret is do nothing. And just let it be natural.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, but a little product.
If you did use it, man.
Well, I do. The Tough Tribe, but just a little bit. So it lasts. It's perfect. It's so good that it lasts. So
it's changing our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Fulton's watching in Vulcan, Alberta. He says, Rod, you've come a long way from back in the day. The past was to educate and prepare you for the future. The dynamics of the choices we make. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate you saying that. I just think about all the way it used to be, and now it's fantastic. And I thank you, Darren, for all of that. Do you want to talk about featured game while we're sitting here, by the way? Because we got a few minutes in the segment. Tonight's featured game. I'm a little stumped. We might have to dig into the minors. There's only 3 NHL games tonight, and that's, God willing, the way things are going. Washington's at Chicago, and that, frankly, is a sexy matchup. I'll probably watch that on somewhere. New York Rangers at Arizona. Seattle Kraken at Anaheim. That's it. 3 in the NHL, and then in the NBA, Toronto's off. It's a good night for me to broadcast the Recovery Hour, the show that I do on recovery. Any of those tickle your fancy, or is there something else? See, your Blades won last night.
The Winnipeg Ice are in Saskatoon to play the Saskatoon Blades tonight. That's my
How about that?
That's my featured game. Victoria plays Kamloops, too. That'll be another good one in the Western League if you want a couple of featured games in the Western Hockey League.
You're on your phone a lot. The viewers want to know. Sam Scarf Closet wants to know, what level of Candy Crush is Darren on?
Like 150. I don't know how many levels is good. I'm not really sure.
You play Candy Crush?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't, unfortunately.
Listen, hour 2 of the program is brought to you by Original 16 Beers. They are found across Western Canada, and if you're lucky, there might even be one in your fridge. We've started Taco Time viewer takeover early. When we come back, we're going to get serious because we haven't been for this whole segment. We'll talk about whatever the viewers want to talk about. How about that? If they want to keep it silly, that's fine too. It feels like that kind of day. Can you see how dark it's gotten?
Yeah.
Although it looks like the sun's peeking out a little bit. It's been raining all morning here on about a 25 to 28 degree day. I can talk a little bit about my weekend coming up. I've been talking with an agent of an NFL player, and we're dealing on getting tickets for this weekend's Dolphins-Jets game. And I said, you got to get me a ticket, because if you don't get me a ticket, I'm going to the Boca Raton Bowl on Saturday. I'm only can pick one.
Yep.
One game. So I'm working on getting tickets from one of the Dolphins. It's not Sam McGuavin. And talk about the sports look ahead. We'll talk about the CFL coaching carousel if you want. We can talk about the legacy of Chris Jones and the people of Saskatchewan. They got to get over it. Saskatchewan's got to get over it. There is a lot of things to talk about. And Baker Mayfield going into COVID protocol today, along with his head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski. Andy McNamara, host of the Browns podcast, is coming up a little later on here in hour 2. We'll be right back. You are watching the RP show, not on Game Plus today, but we are live on YouTube and 24-hour listen live at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head. That could cause a traumatic brain injury that, depending on how severe it is, could take months to heal or leave you with long-term effects. Effects like getting debilitating headaches for the rest of your life. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit aurorarecoverycenter.com for more information today.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Quinn.
We have a surprise for you.
Oh, my.
A Landmark Cinemas $30 gift card with $40 in great movie savings is the perfect gift to give, or give to yourself. Get yours today in theater or online at landmarkcinemas.com and make it a merry movie season. Landmark Cinemas, for movie lovers.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
RP Show continues on this Wednesday. That is a wonderful spot down in the Florida Keys, Robbie's, where you can rent kayaks, you can go snorkeling, you can rent a houseboat. It's a fantastic spot. I have no idea why Moose, as we bring the Moose back in here from the bunker in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, but Randy from the Peg just randomly, unless I missed something, randomly has texted the 902 line and says, Mexi chips.
Okay.
Did we say something that would elicit a comment such as that? Mexi chips?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, I don't
Unless
think so.
that's, yeah, I don't know. Is he looking at a new flavor of potato chips?
Well, there is Mexi chips.
Okay.
From Old Dutch. Come on. John Kirby in Edmonton, he's all over our feeds today, and that's fine because he is a big supporter. John writes on the 902 line, from Alberta, the World Junior Championships bringing international teams here. Any thoughts on that? Premier Jason Kenney says organizers will deal with feds on travel, but that feds also had travel exemptions for some sporting events. Oh, my goodness. How did we fall into this COVID trap?
I know.
I don't mean you and me and our viewers. I mean the world. My initial inclination would say if they played the World Juniors last year, they're going to play it this year. But I can't say. You're far better at this than me with these predictions of things. You were the guy that said first they should do a bubble way back when this whole thing started. And then Sid Seixeiro last hour saying that he doesn't think that any Ontario sports teams will be playing in front of fans very long. I want to pause that for a second. Just on the CFL thing, because we do have a lot of CFL fans watching every day because they don't get the coverage anywhere else. Regarding those Rough Rider fans that are blaming Chris Jones for... Somebody said the other day, I saw it on Twitter, that Chris Jones killed Rider pride. I don't think one person can do that. I'm sorry, I don't. But they were flinging crap at him at the suggestion that he may go run the Edmonton Elks. And Casey Jones on YouTube writes in and says, very hard for some Rider fans to get over anything. They were even complaining about the refs for the Grey Cup game. Okay. Mandy in Edmonton says, I can absolutely see Chris Jones going to the Elks. Perfect timing for him to take the reins and rebuild the team / franchise. And just to throw one more thing at you, because we're all squirrels on here. The poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center is, would you throw your team's jersey onto the ice? Because it happened in Edmonton last night. They're particularly fond of doing it in Toronto, as you know. And as I saw on Twitter this morning, somebody writing, if Winnipeggers weren't so cheap, there'd have been a lot of Jets jerseys on the ice last night. But they're not going to do that in the coupon capital. There's a lot of topics there. But where I started at Moose was, do you think the World Juniors will come off in Red Deer and Edmonton? It's more John's question, but I think as we are, what's today, the 15th, we're 11 days away. The teams are already arriving. They're not going to pull the cord now, are they?
No, the short answer is no. The short answer is you're right. If they did it last year, they'll do it this year. The longer answer is it's completely different. Like last year they had the bubble, right? Or the last time they did this, they had the bubble. And it was right off the NHL model. And it was an extension of that. And it was all safe and there was no fans. And that's why it's back in Edmonton and Red Deer, because they didn't get a chance to really, do the World Juniors or host the World Juniors. They were just a bubble. If the NHL bubble would have been in Toronto or, Yukon or the Northwest Territories, they would have done the World Juniors there. It just happened that it was the same place that they were going to host it anyways. So it is different, but they will go forward. Look, it doesn't mean that they're going to finish, doesn't mean that they're actually going to get off the ground, but they should. It'll all depend on how teams come in, how well they take care of all the protocols, and how the testing goes. Right? They've got protocols in place, come in, get tested. Certain players, we're already hearing from other countries, are not meeting those requirements and can't come. So we're going to deal with that as well. But if everything goes off without a hitch and everybody's doing their due diligence, then the World Juniors will happen. If we run into a big snag like the NHL, where we have a bunch of players test positive and they have to quarantine and we can't play the games, the World Juniors won't happen. But I don't see anything standing in the way of going forward.
I'm with you. Like I said, Canada's already had their camp. Now they're in Banff for whatever they're doing there. Jack in Alberta says, Rod, only the fans themselves can or will kill Rider pride. Stand strong, Rider Nation. No fear, no excuses. Another viewer says, by the way, apparently Edmonton is also going to be speaking to people from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers about coming to the Elks. So I'm in a catch-22 situation here in terms of what I should say versus what I want to say versus what I shouldn't say at all. And, fully knowing that a lot of what you hear is bunk, just me talking with my buddies, never comes to fruition. The football people, they want to hear us sit and talk every day for 2 hours about who might go here, who might go there. Shoot, they do it in the NFL offseason.
That's right.
Right? Like they do it on NFL Network and all that. Trust me, I get it. But there's some skullduggery going on. And listen, I'm down here in South Florida. This is thick Chris Jones territory, i.e. a lot of Chris Jones backers. You know what I'm saying? These are the guys that I'm talking to every day. In some cases, face to face. And I'm hearing that the Argos don't want to let Chris Jones go. That would not surprise me. They don't want to let him go. He's under contract for 2022. if what I'm told is true. I have no reason to think that it's not. But if he was to go to Edmonton and run the whole show, it's a promotion. They gotta let him go. But there are some people in the CFL that don't like Chris Jones very much. Maybe some teams that are in the same division as the Edmonton Elks that might be trying to throw a wrench into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, how far down the lane are we going to walk on this versus just sitting back and waiting for the Edmonton Elks to call a news conference? Listen, you hire people all the time, Darren. You post the job, you collect all the resumes, you interview everybody, and Bob's your uncle. Now, if I was in your chair, and I never will be, because I don't want to be a boss, but if I was hiring, I would say, that's the guy or girl that I want, and I would call them and say, here's the offer. Are you in or out? And if they say no, I go on to the next one. I would have my list, but I would go to them. But it doesn't seem like too many teams do that.
You do both. You do both. You know, you post it, obviously, collect your resumes, because your list might not be ironclad. Somebody might sneak through. You might always, hey, look at it. I didn't even know about this guy or girl. And then you can call and you can do the interview and figure out that's the most qualified person for the job. But you have to have your list, right? I mean, this is pro sports. This is business. You want to be successful. You need to run it the same way. You know, too often people run into mistakes by, just posting something and grabbing people off the free agent line, which, I mean, there's good free agents out there. Let's make no mistake about that. But if Chris Jones has got a track record of winning, if he's the guy you want, then go out and court him and try and get him to come to your organization. And they'll have others on the list. But if he's there at the top of your list, then you got to exhaust all possible options and resources to try and get him to Edmonton. And I know there's been, trouble in the past where he burned the team and left for Saskatchewan. But guess what? How are the Elks going to come back from this? Winning is going to help. It's going to help build a strong brand. And, you got to figure out who can help you win football games and get this organization back on track. And if they think Chris Jones is that guy, then they need to do whatever they can to bring him in.
Boy, they sure like to talk about him, don't they? From the Puck and Pigskin podcast and the YYC, that's Jason. He says, damn Chris Jones for following better opportunities, LOL. Casey Jones on YouTube says, how about this one? Is anyone willing to give Eric Tillman another shot? Just asking. I don't know why they wouldn't, but the last I heard, Eric Tillman was chilling in Jackson, Mississippi, and had some NCAA things on the go. So I don't know that we see Eric Tillman again in the CFL, but I don't know. Do we want this show to be the old biddies sitting around the hair salon gossiping about stuff like this? Is that what we want it to be? Because as I said to the one coach, I could sit and talk about this for 2 hours every day.
Oh,
I could, because I love it. But it's a disservice to our hockey fans, NFL fans, which is growing. And actually, Jack in Alberta says a really good thing here. He says, Rod, it doesn't matter whether somebody doesn't like Chris Jones. He wins. And that's what we all want. When Chris Jones left to go to the NFL, did we ever think that was the last we would ever see of him in the CFL? Because I honestly did. I thought, okay, now he's in the big show. It's where he's always wanted to be, never coming back. And 3 years later, he's like the hottest commodity.
I know.
Isn't it funny how things work?
We thought he'd get in the NFL, and then he would just scale his way up the NFL, and all of a sudden we'd see him on the opposite sidelines from Bill Belichick one day. That's a lot harder to get there, than it sounds. But he's a hot commodity here, and maybe, he's got to be content with, being on top of this mountain, the CFL mountain, and that's where he's going to have success. We'll see. But he's a hot commodity right now.
Oh, man. Okay, this is fun. This is exactly what I wanted. That was viewer input today. Taco Time, viewer takeover. Sam's Scarf Closet. That's the name of the account on YouTube. Says, yes, please gossip. Okay, then we will. Like when you're hiring Chris Jones, you're knowing you're probably hiring a guy 3 years absolutely max. You know that.
Yeah.
But he can turn things around fast. Just don't expect him to be long-term. But he's not the Bill Belichick of the CFL, because what's Belichick's been there literally 20 years or longer now.
Yeah.
So he's not the Bill Belichick. What is he? I don't know what he is, but he wins. And whether you like him or you don't, he is a hot commodity. What is the like? I think it's because I know him personally, and I really like him, that I'm such a fan and a supporter of his. And that crew, I've said it many times on this show, that Chris Jones army, which is a larger army than you think, Darren.
Yeah.
Well, you think you know. I thought I knew. I didn't. When you walk into a restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and the owner, Joey's like, "You're a buddy at Jonesy's?" On the house. You know what I mean? Like, the guy has tentacles all over. It's unbelievable. And these are the guys that are blowing up my phone every day. That's where I'm getting a lot of my CFL info. It might not all be right, but it's what they believe.
Yeah.
And these guys are pretty true blue guys. And so anyway, from the Puck and Pigskin podcast says, "No, Rod, we're the guys sitting around the old barbershop chatting about football like in Friday Night Lights."
Yeah.
Fun fact, I've never watched Friday Night Lights.
Ooh.
And Wayne in Victoria, BC says, "Hey, Rod, why the Chris Jones hate in the CFL? I understand that he goes where opportunity knocks. He's a winner." That's the thing. And that was the road I was trying to go down. I don't get why everybody hates him, but that's because I know him. Maybe if you didn't know him, maybe you wouldn't like him. Why do you think there's so much Chris Jones hate?
Because he doesn't fit somebody's definition of what a coach should be, what they think a coach should be. They want continuity. They don't want change. They want to fall in love with the same people. And that's what we want with our teams. We want to have players who spend their whole careers with the organization. We want to have the same team, and we want to grow together. We want the same coaches. And, you know, when it doesn't work, we want them out. And when they leave, we're like, "Why'd you leave?" You know, we want the same coach. We want the same players when they're winning, right? So I think it just doesn't fit the model of what we dream about or what we think it should be. You know, we have a little disconnect with reality as a sports fan, but we all know that.
Right. Well, so, yeah, but I mean, and now we've hit on something that I could sit and talk about for days, and we won't because we got Andy McNamara coming in. But Casey Jones watching on YouTube says Don Matthews was also a short-term coach and a winner. Darren in Salt Lake City says, "Sounds like Jones is the Urban Meyer of the CFL. Come in, win, and leave." I'm honestly okay. If you don't like Chris Jones, you don't like him, whatever. That's human nature. You're not going to like everybody. You're not always going to get along. That's just human relations. What I have this huge problem with is the people in the CFL that are deliberately trouncing Chris Jones. Just dirty pool. There's people deliberately trouncing Rod Pedersen in the CFL that have no reason to. They just do it because that's the type of people that they are. And that's... Like I put it in my commentary the other day. Like I've stepped off the carousel. I don't want to be part of this. I want to do what I'm doing here, and I want to do it every day. I want to do it for the rest of my life. And I've told you that since we started, that it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, like I have a real problem with what's happening to Chris Jones in some CFL circles. And I think that's human relations. Maybe that's just sports. I think it happens outside of sports. I've never worked in anything else. That's got a big problem with that. And that's, let the guy be. Get over stuff. Let the guy live his life and pursue a living.
Yeah.
You know, it's gross to me how stuff goes. Anyways, any final thoughts on that before I let you go and come back for overtime?
No, that's good. Say hi to Andy.
Will do. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show, broadcasting live from South Florida and the bunker in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Andy McNamara, Sportsnet fantasy expert and host of the Browns podcast, joins us next. You're watching on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Quinn.
We have a surprise for you.
Oh, my.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall. Or you might sprain your wrist, or even fracture it. A severe wrist fracture can take at least 2 months to heal properly. And it can cause you to develop arthritis that keeps you from doing something as simple as picking up your child without pain. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? We have something really special.
Holy, it's pretty impressive.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues on a Wednesday, episode number 634. Daytime sports talk from what's become sunny South Florida on a wacky Wednesday in the world of sports. And we're so pleased to welcome to the program Andy McNamara. Let's bring him on the screen. Sportsnet fantasy expert, head football writer, ultimate franchise fantasy sports. He's always got a lot going on. Happy Wednesday, Andy. How you doing, brother?
Rod, I'm doing good, my man. Looks very sunny. Look, I got my new UFAFL and UFF Sports mug. Looking sharp there at UFFsports.com. Got to get the cheap plug in early, you know.
It's good. But hey, don't let me let you go without talking about that. But first,
Absolutely.
With your Browns, when I hear Browns news, you're the first guy I think of all the time. It used to be Chris Jones, but he's not there anymore. So now it's you.
Right.
Baker Mayfield into COVID protocol. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, into COVID protocol. What did you think when you heard the news today?
First of all, I got to get the name of that steakhouse that you can get free stuff by mentioning Chris Jones that you were saying before the break. That we can talk about that after when I'm down in Florida. I want the name of that.
Cafe Seville. Cafe Seville.
Okay, got it. But yeah, Rod, this is becoming just swarming the entire NFL, not just the Browns, but specifically in Cleveland, it has hit Baker Mayfield. You said Stefanski. It was sort of targeted to just the offensive side, but now it's moved into the defensive side. Troy Hill, who was going to miss that game anyway with a knee injury, but John Johnson, who's been a stellar cornerback for them this year in safety. This is turning into a situation where I'm hoping we don't see, like, remember last year when they made the Denver Broncos play and they had that practice squad wide receiver who like played quarterback one time in high school, and they did that. That's what it's sort of trending for. They're having emergency COVID protocol meetings right now, the owners, but it looks like one way or another, that game is being played 4:30 p.m. Eastern in Cleveland, Ohio versus the Raiders, no matter who's on the field.
Well, and so look, let's just take a sachet down the fantasy road if you don't mind, because I just saw an article on betting and setting odds, which is different than fantasy. What kind of a wrench has COVID thrown into that, which your Sportsnet's fantasy lead? I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. If we're talking the betting side, Vegas this morning took down that Browns game. They took it right off the board. How are you going to set a proper line not knowing who's going to come in and names being added to that COVID list every few minutes, it seems. And when it comes to fantasy, this is the very tricky part, especially for fantasy leagues where this is the first week of your playoffs. We had the extra week of the season, of course, the extra game. So now this is the first week of your fantasy playoffs. And all of a sudden, you're going to be without some key players. And even if they're not out, it's going to affect them. Let's say you have Nick Chubb, a true RB1 in any fantasy league. Well, he's without at least 2, maybe 3 of his starting offensive linemen and his quarterback. So what does that do to his value? That's going to shrink that. And then you go really just all across the league with normal injuries, all the COVID situations and anything that can pop up. It's going to be an interesting playoffs because it's going to be a case. And I advise people all year, make sure your bench depth, those bench spots, especially later in the year, you have people in each type of position. Don't just load up on wide receivers. Have that spare tight end if you can. Have a couple running back. Have a wide receiver, maybe even a quarterback, depending on the depth. But you have to prepare for surprises like this.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Browns, I don't know if you would say surprised last year, but they did have a deep playoff run. 7-6, second place in that crowded AFC North. This doesn't help things. How do you see the last few weeks playing out here in the NFL? Because there's a lot of teams just on the cusp of the playoff picture looking in. This is a wild ending upcoming.
It really is. And Rod, I can't remember the last time that we were this far in the season where truly you could look at either conference, and I think more so the AFC, and not have a true Super Bowl favorite. Right? Like not have it's definitely the Chiefs and, it's definitely them. Well, it could be the Chiefs. It could be the Patriots. Not many people saw that coming. Still could be the Buffalo Bills, maybe. What about the Tennessee Titans? Like, there's so many real what-ifs as far as people who could make it to the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, I think the de facto, because Tom Brady is there, is Tampa Bay. But even in that spot, there is so much parity, which is exciting to a degree. But if you're thinking of betting or who's going to be best on your fantasy team, if they're spreading the ball around or in those dreaded running back committees, it makes it really tough. So yeah, that AFC North is going to be, I think, a battle of attrition because Lamar Jackson's got a rolled ankle. I don't think any of those teams necessarily are going to be a wild card team to get into the playoffs out of the AFC North this year. I think you have to win the damn thing.
But over to the NFC, I wish we had more time, but Sam wants to know, are the Rams on the rise? I did not see them going into Arizona and winning on Monday night, but they did, and they look good. Have they got their adversity out of the way, and the Rams are now a legit Super Bowl favorite in the NFC?
It's interesting, Rod, because I felt they sort of went through a similar fog like the Kansas City Chiefs did for a few weeks, right? And maybe the Chiefs aren't even fully out of it, but where you had your star players underperforming, the offense wasn't working. That happened for a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks with LA, and now they're starting to get sorted back out. They're starting to refine their identity. And even great teams go through these little patches. So I think the way the Rams are built, the defense, any team who has Aaron Donald, we know what he can do. That defense is good enough. The offense you have, as long as Matt Stafford can stay healthy, and that is a very real if with that back and everything that goes along with it, some leg issues too. But he's got the weapons, and he can distribute the ball, and then you have good enough backs in Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel that can make the running game legitimate, can make teams not just tee off and blitz you all the time. You have to respect it. So I think the Rams, when we talk about contenders, have to be considered right up there at this point. Stafford's never been there. Sean McVay has been to the show. So this is going to be Matthew Stafford's first real shot, and no more excuses of being like, I was on the Lions, so what could I do? Now you're going to have a real shot to have some playoff success. So we'll see, but I think the pieces are there for sure.
Viewers love the fantasy talk. Tell us about Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, if you don't mind, in the time we have left. Because if they love fantasy, they are going to want to know about this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rod, you got to check out UFFsports.com. We have the Ultimate Fantasy American Football League, which is the current fantasy, which is this sweet mug I got right here. Got the hat behind me, too. That's 32 teams we got going on. We have athletes. Chris Carter, Michael Vick owns a team. A Las Vegas hotel owner from Circa, he owns a team. We got millionaires. We got everyday people doing that league. But on AOsports.tv this Thursday, tomorrow evening, starting at 7:30 p.m., we're going to have the American Football Legends League auction. I'm going to be hosting that, and we're going to have the player auction where it's going to be auctioning off the playing contracts for esports for the video game Access Football that we're partnering with, and Rod, that we're going to be airing, recording, and broadcasting on AO Sports TV every game. So you're going to be able to see all the start and answer those questions. But the great thing about this league, and where I'm going to be interested where this player auction goes, how much these players sell for to our 16 franchises, is going to be you can actually answer those questions that you have in the bar with friends or whatever over years. Well, how would Joe Montana face again, or how would Otto Graham at quarterback deal with Reggie White charging at him? How would Chris Carter and Jerry Rice on the same team look? We can answer those questions in this league head-to-head and watch it. And that's what's going to be so cool. And it really kicks off on Thursday. The season's going to be February 6th, but you get to see where the player's going for how much on AOsports.tv tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.
Awesome. It's going to be great. Andy, wonderful insights, man. Thanks for the time. Stay safe, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, you too, Rod. Have a good time. Talk to you later.
Overtime is coming up next, and Taco Time, viewer takeover. Get it all out. Final segment is ahead. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio, rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Comfort has always been something we as people strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Time for the Four Seasons Sports Palace. Always a lot of fun going on there. You're home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. And the Seattle Kraken fan club, they won last night. Don't you know? The Kraken beating the San Jose Sharks. And I think, Clark was saying that we do have the Moose back in the bunker. I'm going to do my best, Moose, to keep this positive here. Not that it's a negative day, but COVID-free, if you will.
All right.
It is Taco Time viewer takeover on this Wednesday. Taco Time's signature hot sauce is made in-house daily, which probably would come as a surprise to no one because it's so good. And you and I in the mall food court, how many did I pound that day? 6? You were amazed at the amount of Taco Time hot sauce that I go through. It's unreal. Are you as big a fan? What are you on the salsa thing?
I'm a ranch guy. I'm not a salsa or sour cream or a hot sauce guy. I'm a ranch guy.
Right. Hour 2 of the RP Show is brought to you by Original 16 beers brewed in Saskatchewan, made with premium Saskatchewan ingredients. Original 16 is unfiltered for peak flavor. By the way, our rock star of the day yesterday was Matt Seixeiro of Seixeiro and Price, the Vancouver-based sports talk show. It's brought to you every day, the rock star of the day. Thank you. By Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions. They specialize in improving your company's performance and bottom line through supply chain management services. I'm just trying to get to as much business, Darren, as we can. Randy in the Peg writes in and says, nice to see a fantasy interview, Rod. Looking forward to my NFL fantasy playoffs. I think you at one time were into fantasy sports. Are you still? You've known not to really talk about it with me because I'm not, but you know what I mean? That's not something that we talk about.
I'm into it.
Because
and
I
if
don't
I can,
play it.
For a second, getting excited. Derrick Henry's going to come back in January, and then I'll be off to the races. But no, we have fun. It is always fun. Adds a little bit of intrigue around the holidays for sure, to be able to have your fantasy football team to pay attention to and all that. But outside of me enjoying it, I do it and I enjoy it, and I'll pay attention to it. But it's not. I don't talk to other people about it.
I'm happy to have Adam Ridioff still watching in Hamilton. He sent in a photo earlier of himself and a gentleman enjoying the 108th Grey Cup, and Clark said that he has it there, that we could show it if we want. That's Adam, with one of the residents of the care home that he works at. Adam, you are a very special person, man, with that occupation and taking your friend to the game. I'm sorry that it didn't have a better outcome for you. And Adam's still watching, and he writes in and he says, Rod, how long do I get to mope about the Ticats losing the Grey Cup before it's officially time to get over it? I would suggest 2 options. Everybody's different. That's the first thing I would say. Everybody's different. You can hold on to it forever if you want. Most people do. There was a time that I thought about the 13th man in the Grey Cup every day for probably about a decade. I don't think about it anymore. And actually, my life's the better for it. But I'm sure there's been games, Darren, in your fandom that you don't get over. It's literally a personal choice. How long you want to carry something? I would suggest getting over it immediately. It hasn't even been a week. Do we want to put a week on this?
How?
I would say the sooner you get over it, the sooner you lead a happy life. How about that?
Yeah, you got a little bit of a grace period for sure. If you want to be upset about this into next season or until you win a few games, I mean, go for it. We all need to take time to mourn things. I mean, geez, when Toronto blew that 4-1 lead to Boston, that stuck with me for a while, man. But I tell you, until now, like I haven't thought about it in a couple of years, right? Except for the moment it comes up when we talk about it on the show. So, and you're much better off when you can just, put the past in the past. But no, you can absolutely mourn this Ticats loss for a little while.
Well, there is a mourning period. There's a grief part of it. There's no doubt, Adam. I appreciate you asking, but as a certified recovery coach, I'll say it again. The sooner you can get over it, the better. But you do need to grieve it. Jennifer at the Four Seasons is watching. We all know Jennifer. We all love Jenna. She says, thank God no jersey bet was made in the Toronto-Edmonton game last night. She said, I would be forced to wear a Leafs jersey today. It burns my skin. Her boss, the Greek freak, Georgianitsos, he forgot to put a bet on the game last night. How about that? 5-1, the Leafs won. Darren in Salt Lake City, Utah says the CFL needs to get in on fantasy football and improve the single game betting thing to get younger fans involved. I will tack on to that. This is a recording. Why do people every single day write in here with what they think and ask what we think would cure the CFL's ails? Why is that?
Not to be, I don't know what the word is, arrogant or anything like that, because I don't think we are. But we often come up with these ideas, and they're often end up being what happens. So we often end up being right about these things. So they look at us to be like, what should they do next? Where are they going to go next, right?
Last minute of play in the RP show. Continue.
So that's kind of where I think people ask because, we've proven whether it's with the bubble or with how they were going to handle the McLeod-Bethel-Thompson situation or, there's a number of examples where we talk about things in the show and then they end up being what happens or, they end up coming true.
Well, like I say, it's just one particular coach in the States who you don't know him, but he would like us to talk about CFL every day because nobody else is doing it. And like I say, we could do 2 hours every day. I don't know. It's kind of a conundrum for us because we could. There's just so many. I'm excited about the NLL. I'm excited about the NHL. I don't want to get locked down to one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the answer is. The storm is blowing in. Can you see this?
Time to go.
Pray for me.
Take cover.
See it tomorrow at noon Eastern here on the RP Show.
I'm not this renegade rogue tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling you what's actually going on.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
How about that? Hot take. I like it.